I have black hair texture, and I'm going to be taking out my black hairstyle. After I take out my black hairstyle, I'm going to have a textured afro. Oh, wait. Isn't afro a root word for African? And African equals black, right? See what I did there? The same type of person that would get mad at me for making the statement would be the same person to get mad at a white person for having cornrows, braids, or another culturally appropriated black hairstyle. Well, shit, isn't that just exhausting? Since most of you want to use having a white mom as a derogatory remark, I guess having a white mom taught me Latin root words and standard English. I mean, it's not my preferred form of speaking, but if you really want me to, I can code switch over to ebonics. It just don't make no types of sense with all this racial and colorism stuff that be going on here. Shit, man, you be thinking this is the 60s or some shit the way these people be acting. All this just be on some silly stuff that ain't worth even worrying about. Going back to the main point of the topic, what is black hair? I think having a white mom also taught me the difference between white boy hair and black boy hair. Looking from the outside in, I'd say I have nappy black boy hair, and I love it. I primarily have 4B hair type with a little mix of A and C also. In all the places that I've lived in or been to, I've never seen a white person with 4 type hair texture, let alone 4C. Unless you get a silk press or wear a wig and weave, I've never seen a black person with pin straight hair either. Never did I say it's impossible, but it is phenotypically very uncommon.
Even focus on the way that this man looks right now. We're gonna ignore that for right now. Let's brush that to the side, right? Because I mean, anybody with 2 eyes can look and see that this is not a black man. Now, you know, some of y'all be like, well, golly gee, Willikers, blackness comes in all shades. Blackness is diverse, my home diggity. But those of us who are not out of our minds can tell that this is not a black man just by looking at him, right? But again, we're not even gonna focus on that right now. Let's talk about the way that he acts. Am I the only person who saw this video? It was like, he acts like a white person. Am I the only person? And let me tell y'all why I'm saying this. So, in case y'all did not know, I am a Detroit Public Schools graduate, which means that for the most part, I didn't really interact with white people when I was growing up. There were not a lot of white people in Detroit, right? So, I really didn't know how they moved, okay? Now, when I graduated from high school, I went off to college, I went to a PWI, and that was my first time really interacting with these people. So when I was in college, I worked in the caf, right? And I worked at the sandwich station, okay? Let me tell y'all this story, right? So on the other side of the cafeteria, there was other stations. I forget what station the girl even worked at, right? But I left my station and walked to the back to get something from, like, you know, the back where the dish room and, you know, like the chef's office is and stuff, right? So as I'm walking back there, this white girl is directly in my way, right? Like, I'm trying to go into this doorway to get to the back, right? Now, this is the thing about me. I have manners. I really do, right? I really do. My parents raised me with some good manners. That being said, my first, reaction is always to be mannerable. Now, my second reaction might not be that if you got me fucked up, but my first reaction is to be mannerable, right? So this white girl is directly in my way, and I say, oh, excuse me. And this bitch just mean mugged me. And I said, bitch, if you don't get the fuck out of my way, and then she got out of my way, right? So then I go and I do what the fuck I needed to do, and I go back to my station, right? Okay, you would think that's the end of the story, right? So I'm at my station making my sandwiches, minding my business, right? And this one girl who I know happens to be eating in this cafeteria. Maybe she lived in this dorm or something. Maybe she had class around there. I don't know, right? So the girl who I know comes to my line, right? And she's like, do you know that white girl at the pasta station or wherever she was working at, right? And I'm like, no, why? Why? Because, mind you, this is the same bitch who was just standing directly in my way and then me mugged the hell out of me before I told her to get out of my motherfucking way, right? But I didn't say all that to this person. I was just like, no, I don't know her. Why, right? So then this person was like, oh, because she back there talking cash money shit about how she gonna fight you, so and so, yada, yada, yada. I said, really? So I went over to her station and I said, bitch, slap me the fuck, or whatever the fuck she said. I forget. She said she was gonna slap me, beat my ass, whatever. But I promptly marched right over to her station. I said, bitch, I want to see you do what the fuck you said you was gonna do. So go ahead and do that shit so I can knock you the fuck down, right? Would you believe, y'all? Would you believe that not only did she not slap me, right? Not only did she not beat my ass, right? She immediately ran to the back to cry to the manager about how scared she was. And y'all, when I tell y'all that was like the most mind-boggling moment of my life, I was literally like, what? I was like, wait a second, hold up, wait. Okay, you was in my way. I said, excuse me. You mean mugged me. I then said, bitch, get out of my way. You went over there and started talking shit about how you was gonna beat my ass. I went over there and confronted you and said, bitch, do it. And then you ran to tell the manager about how scared you was. What the fuck? Like literally, y'all, this was the most like, interaction I have ever interacted in. Because like at every point in this interaction, that bitch was the aggressor. Literally. I'm lost, y'all. I'm lost. She was the aggressor at every point in this interaction. But as soon as I confronted her about it and said, hey, you was talking about you was going to do ABC, go ahead and do that shit, she immediately ran to the manager talking about, I'm scared. Y'all, that was like, wow. That was wild. Now, y'all, that was the day I was officially inducted into the white woman society. Now, I don't even play with them bitches. As soon as them bitches, they start to getting, to be the aggressor, how they always do, I play the victim before they ever care. I just, oh my God, I'm so scared. Like, oh gosh, like, I feel so attacked. Like, y'all, that day taught me a serious lesson. Anyway, I shared all that to say something, right? The thing that white people do that a lot of black people are not used to, right? The thing that white people do is they be mad passive aggressive, right? So they aggressive, don't get me wrong, but they do it passively so they can still paint themselves as the victim. And the average black person is not really like that. At least not in Detroit, right? Black people are more upfront. I don't want to say confrontational because that's not really what it is. We're just more upfront with what it is we're thinking and what it is we're feeling. Because if I told you, bitch, move the fuck out of my way, then that's when you should have been like, bitch, I'll beat your ass. And I should have been like, oh, okay, we'll do it then. And you should have swung, right? That's how black people interact. But for white people, no, it's like they lay little traps, right? They say aggressive shit, right? And then it's like you ever seen an old cartoon where somebody's laying down, whatever to lead somebody to wherever they trying to lead them to, and this unsuspecting person just picking it up, yummy, I found some random candy in the forest, right? That's how white people are. They just lay down these little traps, and they just lead you along until they get you right where they want you to be, and then suddenly, bang, you're the aggressive one, not them, even though they've been aggressive this entire time, and all you did was confront them like, hey, you've been playing in my face, right? So I said all that to say, is this dude not doing that exact thing? And let me explain what I mean by that. Now, in this video that we watched of this guy, this biracial guy, he says, oh, I have a textured afro, and the prefix afro means African, and that means black, therefore I am black, my home diggity, right? Then he goes on to say, you all use having a white mother as an insult, but the reason that I know Latin prefixes in standard English is because of my white mother, yada, 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 so and so and so. Then he says, oh, I'll speak some ebonics. And he says, oh, y'all, and this colorism and racism stuff, so and so and so, yada, 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 right? That is the ebonics that he chose to speak, right? Now, let's watch his follow-up video, because apparently people were in his comments like, boy, what was that, right? So this is his follow-up video where he responds to people who were getting on him about his alleged ebonics, right?
I recently spoke ebonics in my earlier post. Don't make no types of sense with all this racial and colorism stuff that be going on. All this just be on some silly stuff that ain't worth even worrying about. Not speaking specifically about this comment, but now supposedly everybody's a professional in the origins of ebonics. In case for some reason you weren't aware, ebonics has some origination to Southern dialect. That's why people speaking ebonics oftentimes come off as country. Ebonics is a low form of American Standard English. If I remember correctly, there's a whole YouTube documentary talking about accents and different dialects and all of their different originations. It's pretty interesting if you want to go check it out. Maybe it wasn't YouTube. Maybe it was the Discovery Channel. I don't know.
Now, he sat here, he made this second video, and he's like, oh, everybody's in the comments acting like they're the ebonics police and they know so much about it and so and so and so, right? And he records what he pretends is an actual academic discussion of ebonics, right? So he's like, oh, the reason that I sounded like I had a Southern accent when I spoke my ebonics is because ebonics and Southern English have common origins, so and so and so, right? So he's in this second video, again, pretending that he's actually having some sort of an academic discussion about his ebonics and that he was not simply mocking the way that black people speak. First of all, whatever the fuck he was speaking was clearly not ebonics, okay? Whatever the fuck that was, he ain't learned that from no black people. That was clearly a white person's imitation of ebonics, okay? That's the first thing, right? And the second thing is this. When he chose to speak his ebonics, he could have said anything in the world, right? He could have said, oh, how's the weather, whatever, right? But instead, when he put on his minstrel show ebonics accent, he sat there and was like, oh, y'all keep talking about racism and colorism, so and so and so. He literally mocked very serious issues that black people go through and that we rightfully talk about, right? Was this like not the exact same thing that white people do all of the time? Like, this is what white people do all of the time. Now, my thing is this. Quite clearly, that ebonics in the first video was not any actual ebonics. It was him mocking black people who make fun of him for having a white mother. He was clearly offended by people saying, oh, your mom is white. I can tell by the way that you act. And that was his retaliation towards it, right? But this is my thing. Why not stand on it? Right? Why not just be straight up and be like, yeah, I was mocking y'all, right? No, he doesn't do that. Instead, again, he paints it as if he was actually speaking ebonics, right? And then he attempts to paint this, this academic view of what he's saying. Oh, yeah, I wasn't making fun of ebonics. Look, these are the origins. Let's have an academic discussion surrounding it, so and so and so, right? And this is what I mean about the way that white people act. Like I said, black people are a bit more upfront when we do stuff. And this is something that I had to learn when I was in college, right? On the other hand, white people do this passive-aggressive stuff. They'll do something like this biracial Brad did. Oh, I'm going to use my ebonics accent, right? And then they'll say some shit like, oh, y'all just bringing up racism, colorism, so and so and so. And then when black people are rightfully offended by that, and we like, well, first of all, that's not ebonics. Whatever the fuck you're speaking is not ebonics, right? Then instead of being like, you right, I was just mad and I reacted because, y'all were saying whatever about me having a white mom. No, instead of being upfront with it, he continues to be passive aggressive. Oh, no. I was legitimately speaking ebonics. Oh, and let's have a discussion about it, so and so and so, right? And it's funny because even in his second video, he said, oh, ebonics is a low-level form of English. So he is literally parroting the talking point that racist white people say when they're like, oh, ebonics is just black people being too stupid to learn the rules of standard English. This is literally like a white dude with some curly hair, literally, not even just in looks, in the way that he acts. Now, let's briefly step aside from the behavior discussion, because like I said, this guy does not just look like a white man, he acts like a white man too, right? Let's get into his looks, okay? So he made a comment. He said, oh, the fact that I have a white mother is the reason that I know the difference between white boy hair and black boy hair. I clearly have nappy black boy hair, something. It's funny because somebody commented under my YouTube today. It was a black guy. And he asked me if I liked the word nappy in reference to black people's hair. And he was like, yeah, I don't like that word, so and so and so. And I told him, if I'm going to dislike a word because white people turn it into an insult, I'm not going to like any words, because you can come up with a new word and they will turn that into an insult for black people too, right? So I have no issue calling my hair nappy. But watching this white man say nappy, I ain't like that at all. So I got to think about that, because this is my thing, okay? Like, it's definitely like undertones when y'all be saying stuff like, okay? But that's besides the point, right? It's funny because he said, oh yeah, the fact that I have a white mother is the reason that I know the difference between white boy hair and black boy hair. White boys don't have hair like this. Guess what? Black boys don't have white skin unless they have albinism or vitiligo or something, because somebody about to come comment and pretend that somebody being 90% white is equivalent to a black person having albinism. Every time I say black people don't have white skin, y'all need to cut it out with them whack ass equivalencies, but whatever, right? So this guy sat here and said, oh, I'm black because white boys don't have hair like mine. Black boys don't look shit like you. You literally look like a white man with curly hair. Like, I be so confused because a lot of the times y'all be more white than black in appearances and culture and everything. But y'all will sit there and say, oh, I'm black because I have black hair. And it's like, okay, you a white person with black hair then? Like, the hell? Y'all will basically be white, but y'all will sit there and say some shit like, yeah, I'm white, but I have curls. And white people don't have curls, therefore I am black. Huh? And I don't get it. I don't get it because like y'all be 99% in alignment with whiteness, but then you'll sit there and you'll be like, oh, but that 1% in alignment with blackness, oh, I guess I'm black. That's that one drop rule shit for real, literally, because this dude doesn't even look half black. Let's be for real. This dude may be a quarter black because a lot of y'all love to claim y'all got a black parent and a white parent, but the whole time the black parent maybe be biracial, and that's being generous, right? So a lot of y'all be straight up one droppers, calling yourself biracial and shit because you believe that blackness is so inferior that a drop of it means that you cannot be white. Because look at this man. Look at this man. Anybody who says this looks like a black man is lying. Like, this doesn't even look like a biracial man, right? But he will still sit here and say that he is black, but not say that he is white. That goes to show you how deeply ingrained white supremacy is. I'm tired of black being a trash race. Somebody could be 95% white and be like, oh, but I gotta be black though.